everybody. It's lovely to see you all here today. We have an amazing hour for you. We're going to do your Wellness Power Hour today on behalf of International CONFEX. We have some amazing speakers, lots of amazing content for you. Hopefully you're going to learn some new things. Hopefully you're going to take some takeaways for your company and for your teams as well today. So just to explain a little bit about us, my name is Alexandra Soam. I run a company called the Experience Collective, and we basically provide events, either entertainment or health and well-being for companies and brands. So we generally are supplying mainly corporate programs. So we'll either work with people on corporate wellness, or we'll entertain and create a whole load of team building events for companies. We also specialize in massive parties online. And obviously pre-COVID, we did a lot of in-person activities. So we've been working with CONFEX for probably around 8 years now. And you might have remembered us in our previous guise as Vanity Van. You would have probably had a free manicure from us or a massage. But basically what we did was we've been building new content over the last 5 years. So health and well-being in particular. And we rebranded last January. So what we did was we flipped straight into virtual when it went live in March, because obviously a lot of the new content we did, we could do virtually, which was really a blessing for us. And then we started doing the entertainment as well. So we've got really stuck into the virtual production side this year. We've done hundreds and hundreds of virtual events, and it's our real passion now. And what we're going to talk about a little bit today is about how we can go forward with that. So now we are going to be seeing more in-person activities. We provide and put in experience areas into real person events or into offices. So for example, we might turn your office into a spa for the day, or we might create a kids club area in your corporate family fun day. Now, what we will also be looking at is hybrid. So where we can live stream some of our content into the live events, but also the other way around. So we can live stream out of the live event so that the people that aren't able to attend, perhaps they're in a vulnerable category, there's always going to be that mix, we think, over the next couple of years. So we're going to be able to do some really powerful things with combining both in-person and virtual over the next couple of years. So that's really exciting. So today we're going to talk about a few top tips around how to look at producing and creating content for health and well-being remotely. What kind of things should you be focusing on? The other thing we're going to look at is touch on assessment. So one of the key really important things is to assess your team to see what they actually need. We've then got the fantastic Barbara Cox. She is my nutritionist manager, and she's also a member of the European Wellness Council. She's going to do top 10 hacks on how to boost your immunity, which, as you know, is very important right now. We've also got then the fantastic Hannah Goodman, who is a breathwork specialist, joining us. And she's going to run through a few very simple breathing techniques that will help you to de-stress instantly. These are also incredible for boosting the immune system. So today we're going to be boosting our health as well as learning a little bit about how we can support our teams. Okay, so firstly, to start off with, we would recommend that you look into what your team needs. So we designed a wellness assessment, which would ask a series of questions. Now we do it either as an anonymous thing, or clients can actually have it individually badged, so the person can put their name in, so that you can tackle things with individuals. But the litmus test, the anonymous test, we found really powerful because people don't mind speaking their mind. Everybody is vulnerable right now, but for very different reasons. So if you're going to put out virtual events or in-person events, you need to figure out what it is that actually people want and what they need. So what are their requirements? Do they have a large family at home? Are they caring for people? What is their biggest stresses that they're dealing with right now? What do they like doing? So things like, do they prefer to go running, or are they kind of more of a dancing person? That way, once you answer a series of questions, we then can create an analytical report for you, which shows you the key areas to focus on with content. We do that free for companies, just for fun, just to help them out to kind of really dig into and find out and understand what their teams need. And it often brings up really unusual things that you wouldn't expect, but it means that you can put your investment in the right place. So rather than just saying, oh, we've got this event going on, firstly, the team members have actually inputted into this. So they feel a little bit like they've got a investment because they've asked for what they want, even if it's anonymously. It's a really good way to get more engagement and buy-in to the process because they know that they've been asked what they would like, basically. So when you're then putting together a program of health and well-being or of entertainment events, you're then actually hitting the mark with most people, which is really, really key. So we highly recommend that. You can even do that internally yourselves. We're happy to help if you need that assistance, but we find that is really powerful. One of the key things that we find with events virtually is a lack of engagement. So people may not really be wanting to sign up. They may not know what they want. We find that there's a lot of sign-ups and then perhaps only 20 to 30% actually arrive. So the other thing you can do is you can integrate the content into things that they have to do anyway. So for example, if you're running a conference or an exhibition online with your staff and your clients, or if you're running a meeting, that you tie in the content into that experience. So they kind of have to do it because what we're trying to do here is inspire people. We're not going to be able to spoon feed them every single thing all day, every day. But what we can do is give them incredible content that basically makes them think outside the box, makes them surprised about things that they didn't know, makes them want to look into it further. So for example, I'll give you an example of how this is powerful from my own perspective. I went on a half an hour raw talk about raw food. And what I learned in that half an hour completely and utterly changed my life. So I think that kind of like when you're taking on something new, it can just send you in a totally different direction. You can find things that actually you're passionate about that you didn't even know existed or that you didn't know that you might like. So for example, there's a lot of misconceptions around meditation. And there's many different ways to meditate and be mindful. And breathwork is one of them. It's a very good prep for meditation to get out of your monkey mind and into your body and into the moment. And it's those kind of things that we can teach in short snippets. We normally run our corporate wellness programs are normally an hour event, which is anything between half an hour and an hour with Q&A. They're very interactive. They're very much about doing something, learning something, a technique, or actually learning and asking questions and creating a conversation. Because actually a lot of health and well-being and even these kind of virtual events based on health and well-being are about connection of the team. It's not just about learning. It's not just about giving them something that they need. You're actually bringing them together on a regular basis to do something a little bit different than having a meeting on Zoom or doing a play thing where you're kind of setting up a party or whatever. It's a really nice way to create those nuances, because that's the bits we're missing. It's the bits around the coffee department area. It's the lunchtime breaks. It's the drinks after work. We need to create those connection points in a non-work way in different ways now. So the other thing that we would say is we would also recommend that there's consistency around your content. So you're going to plan a program and stick to that. The other thing that we also find is really powerful is not everyone's going to be able to join the class at the time. Now, part of our production process is to record the whole of the content. So if we have a live talk on, say, communication to safeguard mental health, we will record that content in advance so that if, for example, there was any issue on the day with Wi-Fi or storms or craziness, because you have to allow for every single which way things might happen with technology, we've got a backup video to play worst case scenario. But what we also find is that is a really handy pre-record. So some people actually just want to buy the pre-records and play them in a meeting or play them as part of a conference. The other thing you can do is you can actually give access to the people that were not able to attend the event so they can watch back, which is really fantastic. And the second thing is that a lot of the techniques we teach, so when we do Hannah's event today, Hannah's breathing techniques, those are the kind of things that you want to repeat over and over again. We might do a HIIT training class. It might be a Zumba training, a dance class. It could be a meditation or a yoga class. A lot of our classes in fitness and move categories, they would be great to replay over and over again and do the same thing. I used to do the same with DVDs back in the day when I was traveling for work. I would just play a DVD and I'd watch the same DVD fitness about 1 million times. So think of it like that. It doesn't have to always be live to be powerful. So just to touch quickly on the kind of topics we would suggest you focus on. So we have a section called Inspire. and it's talks and discussions and wellness workshops. So it's everything, all kinds of topics. Business development, personal development, self-development. It looks at relationships, communication, health and nutrition, all kinds of manners of topics. We also do a section called Move, which is basically fitness and dance. So it's anything, but it's quirky and unusual things like disco yoga and voguing workshops. So it doesn't have to be boring or run of the mill. It can be very unusual and fun. We have a connection, which is basically meditation, yoga, mindfulness, breath work, and also ceremonies as well, which can be really interesting and different. And we also have a few other categories of treatment. So we do heal, which is like kinesiology, Reiki, that kind of energy work. Unwind, which is obviously massage, which is obviously people's very much favorites, and skincare. And we have another one called Beautify, which is all about what we used to do with Vanity Van, all the treatments of what we used to do with Vanity Van. And these are brilliant for in-house, in-office spas, or part like a setup for a salon for a fun day or a corporate party. And they're really good for marketing as well, really good for branding purposes. So those are kind of treatments and also our classes. But there's a lot of play categories as well that we do. So we do a lot of creative stuff, arts and crafts, and also obviously the entertainment. So parties and things. And never forget, health and well-being is not just about learning really powerful information and doing classes. It's also about having fun. And that's really key. So has anybody got any questions? We'd really like you to put the questions today in the Q&A section, which is at the bottom of your screens. So if you've got any questions, pop them in there for me now. Let's have a look. Just checking the chat. There's no questions yet. Well, feel free to pop them in there at any time and we'll go back to them later. So I'm just going to hand over to Barbara now and introduce her so we can go through the 10 healthy hacks. Let me just bring Barbara onto the screen. All right, hang on one second. Keely, could you bring Barbara onto... Oh, hang on, I've got it. There we go. Thank you. Right, Barbara. You've come off the screen. Let me just bring you back on again. Yeah, hang on again. I'm going to replace you actually and put you on the main screen.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Hi, great to meet everyone. Thanks for your time today. I'm Barbara Cox. I'm an award-winning nutritionist. I sit on the European Wellness Council. I am the UK representative. I've written 2 of my own cookbooks and many other nutrition books. So I'm speaking to you today as a business owner myself, a top nutritionist, and a mother of 4. So my experience with nutrition and corporate wellness is really vast. But today I want to rattle off really quickly because I've only got about 15 minutes. I'm going to give you 10 healthy hacks to boost your immune system. Very, very top level. We won't drill into them too deeply, but I know they're going to be impactful for you and your teams, and you're going to be able to implement them straight away. And number 1 is hydration. And this is something so simple, but something we forget all the time. You know, you only need to be 3% dehydrated for your productivity to actually drop 30%. But how our body actually deals with hydration is every single cell is at least 70% water. So we need to fill it with good water, between 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day. Again, we want to flush the toxins out of our system with the water, and that will really, really help. So what are some good hydrators and dehydrators? Well, coffee is number 1 as a dehydrator, but being Canadian originally and we hibernate for 6 months of the year out in Canada, I would never take anyone's hot drink away, but there are some good alternatives to coffee. So my rule of thumb is 2 caffeinated drinks a day, 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day. I always get asked, do herbal teas, do cordials, do all of those count for hydration? And the simple answer is yes, they do. do have a water content, but you do want to be really careful with some cordials that are just loaded with sugar or sweeteners as well. And then I also get asked, what about alcohol? And again, you need to be very careful with alcohol because it's very dehydrating on the body. And as I said, you only need to be 3% dehydrated for your production to actually drop by 30%. So my hack number 2 is just to feed the immune system. I've got some great foods. Now, in my cookbooks that I write, I recommend people to meal plan and for them to look at the ingredients that they're adding in their meal planning and to create a meal plan that has about 100 to 150 varieties of food a week. Okay, because when we eat the same foods day in and day out, we only get that same profile of vitamins and minerals. So the body needs 67 minerals and 8 vitamins every day just to function. And if you're eating, processed foods and the same foods every day, you're not getting that variety that you need to boost the immune system naturally. So I'm just going to give you a couple to add into your meal planning this week, okay? Number 1 is avocado. Such a whole food, really good essential fats that really are easy to digest, but also loaded with omegas. And omegas, essential fatty acids, are really, really good for boosting the immune system. The next one is blueberries. I mean, you can throw other berries in there as well, especially blackberries. The darker the berry, the better, because they contain antioxidants that really help boost the immune system, plus they are loaded with vitamin C. Now, your body doesn't make its own vitamin C, so we need to constantly, on a daily basis, have a variety of food that gives us our vitamin C count that we have. The next one are nuts and seeds. Again, really good fats in there, great for protein, as well as when you take a look at certain nuts, like maybe macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts contain something called alpha lipoic acid, and that it actually extends the metabolic lifespan of all the good foods you're eating with antioxidants. So keeps them in your body for longer, fighting off those diseases that you become exposed to. So again, simple stuff that you can do, and that's just 3 to 5 macadamia nuts into your meal planning each week, which will make a massive difference. The next one is watermelon, one of my favorite snacks to have online. Not only is it, really juicy and very sweet, so it's great for hydration, but it gives you that little bit of sweetness that you might need if you're going for anything sugary in the afternoon. But it also contains antioxidants that help to lower your blood pressure. So if you know you've got a stressful meeting coming up, or if you're stressed in any particular way, you really want to grab for some watermelon as well. And finally, we have beetroot. I love beetroot. It's really great for cleansing the liver. Now, if any of you ever have any alcohol, then you need to cleanse the liver. And the beetroot can really help with that. But beetroot is also fantastic for vitamin C as well as immune boosting antioxidants as well. So my hack number 3 is about spicing up your life. Yes, you know what? Healthy food doesn't have to be rabbit food. It can taste amazing, but you need to use some spices. And there's some really good immune boosting spices that I actually want you to use. And number 1 is turmeric. Now you can use the powdered fresh turmeric if you want, or you can use the fresh stuff, which looks like ginger, which you buy in supermarkets. Even Sainsbury's sell fresh turmeric. And I chop that up or grate it into the food. But it is amazing. It contains an antioxidant called curcumin, which is really good for reducing inflammation. Now, all disease starts with inflammation. So the diseases of civilization, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, mental health issues. They all start with inflammation in the body. So it's important we eat the variety of food and have spices that will reduce that inflammation. But there's a second part to having turmeric in your foods. So if you're using ground turmeric, there's lots of things you can do with that. You just buy it powdered from the supermarket. You can put it in omelets. You can make a turmeric chai latte if you want to as well. But I even throw it into homemade pasta sauce. My kids aren't going to see it in that, which is fine. But it must be activated by black pepper. The bioperine content, which is the oil in the black pepper, activates the curcumin in the turmeric. So they're a real good dynamic duo to have. I put black pepper on everything, whether I have turmeric in it or not, because of the bioperine. And the bioperine helps the absorption in the gut, again, of vitamins and minerals and nutrients. So you really want to be adding black pepper. So not as much salt to sort of spice everything up. You want the real good spices that have an immune boosting content. The next one is garlic. Now, when you're in a work situation face to face, sometimes we don't want to eat so much garlic, right? For obvious reasons, garlic breath. But now that we're all working from home and on Zoom, eat as much garlic as you like, because it really is wonderful for boosting your immune system. And I mean, that's from ancient times, as well as using ginger. Again, for centuries, we've used these wonderful herbs and spices to boost our immune system. And ginger is another one which is antibacterial, antiviral. I grate a little bit of ginger on my cereal in the morning. Really nice with the overnight oats, blueberries with a little bit of ginger. Tastes amazing. I even sometimes will just put a slice of ginger in some hot water and sip that with a little bit of lemon as well. So again, being really creative around the foods that you have. So my hack number 4 is around cleansing. Now, 80% of your immune system actually sits within your gut. And we have a lot of this mind-gut connection that happens. And that's why we have the old saying, I've got a gut feeling, because we used to have that connection, but I believe we've lost it. And same with a lot of people, and we've dulled that connection down. So it's really, really important to get that going. And there's a couple of ways you can boost this connection, as well as getting the great absorption of vitamins and minerals through the stomach lining into the bloodstream, where they can be moved around the body and placed where they need to be placed. So number 1 is adding some live fermented foods. So that can be things like kimchi, miso, the fermented sauerkraut. These have good prebiotics and probiotics naturally. You don't need to run to the supermarket and get a Yakult or an Actimel. That stuff is just, marketing, bombardment. You can do it naturally through food. So if you can add those to have as an accompaniment, then that would be fantastic. We get our prebiotics and our probiotics, and really helps our gut. The other one is very simple, using papaya and pineapple. Now, both of them, again, loaded with vitamin C, which we also need, but they contain digestive enzymes. So if you've eaten a really big meal that's difficult to digest, then having papaya and pineapple afterwards, not the tinned stuff, the fresh stuff, will give you the enzymes to help break that food down. And so you won't feel so bloated as well. But it cleanses the whole colon area and helps with vitamin and mineral absorption. So the next one is around good fats. Now, I talked about the avocados and the nuts and the seeds having good essential fatty acids. So just like vitamin C, our body doesn't make its own vitamin C, our body doesn't make its own essential fats either. Now, I'm talking omegas 3s, 6s, and 9s, and we really need those abundance of omega 3s, which can help boost our immune system. But not only that, things that contain vitamin D, like shiitake mushrooms. Vitamin D is a immune boosting vitamin that we get naturally from the sunlight, but we can get it from a food source. But how it moves around in the body is that it's a fat soluble vitamin. So we must have those essential fats in the body for it to move where it needs to be. So, we need to be having good quality oily fish. So our salmon, our tuna, maybe some mackerel will help with that. If you're vegetarian, then take a look at flax seeds, good quality nuts. Those will also help massively. So I've talked about good foods to add in, but my next hack, which is all around dumping the junk. So, if we flood our body with good food, hopefully there's not enough room for the junk food. Because, junk food, especially sugar, has been scientifically proven to lower our immune system for 2 hours after we eat sugar. So if you are exposed to colds and flu and viruses, 2 hours after you eat that Snickers chocolate bar maybe, then you are at greater risk of catching these diseases. So it really is, quite important that we dump the junk as much as possible. My next hack for boosting the immune system is around trying aromatherapy. So, one of the books that I wrote is called Teach Yourself Aromatherapy, and I feel it could be the missing link for some people to naturally, from a lifestyle point of view, boost your immune system. Now, something I specialized in is something called epigenetics. And epigenetics are the messages that sit on top of your DNA that sway the way the DNA reads the messages it's given. So obviously, if we're doing all of these wonderful things in our environment and in our food, then the DNA will read the messages very well. Otherwise, it gets confused. And this is another reason why illness sets in. So let's get our body working right where it needs to work. So essential oils from plants can really help with this. So take a look, just lavender, really easy to take a look at. Lavender, it has antioxidant properties and can really protect our cells. Lemon oil is a really good one as well. That's why I think a lot of cleansers that we use have a fresh lemon scent. And then we can use eucalyptus and tea tree, which also have antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. Now, simple way to use this, you take a little jar and you put 1 or 2 drops on your hand and you rub it and you cup it over your mouth and nose and you breathe in. One of the first points of contact we have with colds and viruses that are airborne is that we breathe them in. So if the mucous membrane that sits under the nasal passage has these beautiful droplets of essential oils in that area, it will kill viruses on contact. It's absolutely amazing. So you might want to take a look at that. Now, my next hack is to reduce your stress. Easily said, right? But not easily done. We're all stressed, and the immune system has this wonderful ability to fight anything that comes in contact with. But when we're stressed, then that can actually be reduced. But can I just say, stress is an absolutely normal sort of psychological and physical reaction to positive and negative situations. We can't get away from it. So it's not the stress, it's how we deal with the stress. And when the body is working properly because we fueled it properly, then we can deal with the stress better, okay? So here's some really good stress busters. Number 1 is avoiding the stimulants. too much sugar, too much caffeine, too much alcohol. These stimulants can lower our immune system and actually cause stress on the body. The next one is around staying active. Being active, we actually produce all the right hormones, which helps reduce the stress factor in the body. Sleeping well is another one, which is my next hack, so I'll talk to you about that. But keeping a stress diary. So my 23-year-old daughter is autistic, and we work with her on keeping her stress levels down because she can get quite anxious in any situation, and it comes up almost instantly. It is a symptom of being autistic. And so keeping a stress diary, something that she carries around, so it gets it out of her brain and onto paper, and she can almost rationalize it a little bit more. But it's one of the greatest tricks that I give all of my clients, to get it out of your brain and onto paper, because then you can manage it easily, you can share the stress with someone else, and you can troubleshoot it so much easier. And the next one, my next hack, and we're almost done, second to last, is about sleeping well. I really, really want you to sleep well. So, there's a term called sleep debt. And this is when you get the amount of sleep that you have and then the actual sleep that you get. So you minus that and then you get sleep debt. So for example, I always aim for 8 hours of sleep a day. But, sometimes my lovely little Fitbit here tells me I only get 6 hours sleep. So that gives me 2 hours of sleep debt. So then, when you have this on a constant basis, you are running on empty. And so you need to really make sure we're boosting our immune system and being the best that we can with proper sleep. So here's a few little tips for your bedroom and sleep regime. And I call it sleep hygiene, because just like waking up in the morning and brushing your teeth and having a shower, you need to be doing this bedtime regime. So it's all about consistency. Trying to go to bed at the same time, trying to wake up at the same time, even on the weekends if you can. Having your room environment good. Is it too light? Is it too dark? Is it too warm? Is it too cold? Is your duvet too heavy? All these kinds of things. Really do an assessment in your room to make sure those factors are just right. And then you want to take a look at the nutrition as well, because, are you eating too late? Are you eating foods that you might have a slight allergy to? A lot of snoring is caused by food allergies. And how often does that keep you up as well? So it's really, really quite important that you look at that. And finally, my last one is about supplementation. It's such a massive area. Do we pop a pill or not? Well, obviously, being a nutritionist, I really, truly believe that you can get everything from food and diet. But that does take an awful lot of effort. So again, taking a look at proper supplementation to boost your immune system, you might want to look at a really good omega supplement, a vitamin D supplement, and you can get supplements of the spices I talked about, which is turmeric and black pepper. So try to put all of those tips. I know that was just like a bombardment thrown at you, but this is, just a really top level, and I'm sure you're writing really quickly, but if you can implement just one of those points, you will get a good immune boosting effect. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, everybody, and stay supercharged.
Thank you, Barbara. It's all about incremental changes, isn't it? It's lots of little things, changing lots of little things will make a bigger difference in the long run. We do have a question from Sherry. She said specifically about dumping the junk. This is a really good question. What about fruit sugars when you make smoothies? Because obviously the fruit sugars are broken down. Should we limit the amount of smoothies we have? And what is your stance on super green foods blends like Living Superfood Organic Blend? I think that's Kiki Nature's. Things like wheatgrass, spirulina, barley, grass, nettle leaf, lots of ingredients here, dandelion leaf. What do you think, Barbara? What's your take on that?
Yep. Okay, so I love fruit. but I do limit my fruit, and I try to have sort of low sugar fruits as well. It depends kind of how I feel, because I want to keep the food variety in there. So if you have too many sugary fruits, like I'm talking, 3 or 4 a day, then it can give you the blood sugar level roller coasters. So when I make smoothies, I use a little bit of fruit. My tip is, so if I chop up a banana and then I freeze it in chopped pieces. So I'm not using a whole banana, because banana does add the sweetness, but again, can add that sugar. So in my smoothie, I might use 1 or 2 little chunks of mango, and then I can use 1 or 2 chunks of banana, and I love the greens. So fresh spinach goes in there. I also love spirulina. Spirulina is a sort of a algae seaweed that has a huge amount of minerals as well as B12. So I put a little bit of that in there as well. Wheatgrass shots are super. So staying green is really good. So I agree with that question. And do you know what? If it inspires you to put it in there and you enjoy the taste, then that's great. But if you want to educate and inspire people to have these, but if they don't like the taste, then and chuck it in the bin, there's no nutrition if you chuck it in the bin. So again, trying little bits at a time, to make sure that you yourself and everyone that you're fueling is enjoying this.
Thank you, Barbara. The other thing as well is you can use protein powders and things to boost up, and nuts and seeds and like seed mixes like flax and stuff in smoothies. So it doesn't have to just be fruit, for example. Lovely. That's so helpful, Barbara. Thank you so much for those tips. I hope everybody enjoyed that. So we're going to finish off now with Hannah. So Hannah, if you can pop your screen on for me. Hannah Goodman is a breathwork specialist, and she's going to run through some pointers as to why breathing is so important, and also a few techniques that will help you to de-stress and remain calm. So I'm going to hand it over to Hannah now. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Hi, a quick breathing hack with you today, a breathing technique. It's called box breathing. You might have even heard of it before. This is an example of like a breath awareness technique that is really simple and effective to use throughout your day when you need it. And like Alexandra and Barbara also said, like the incremental changes and the regularity, the consistency of these practices is what you need to really see the benefits of them. So this breathing technique is a really, thankfully, simple and easy and effective breathing technique to use. I feel like the main challenge that comes with these sorts of things is creating new habits for ourselves in order to remember to connect with our breath throughout the day, to remember to check in with our breath, to notice where it changes during your day, who you're talking to, what the situations are, when do you feel more short of breath or more restricted, and when does your breath flow more easily? So the box breathing technique basically regulates your nervous system. So whether you're needing to create some more aliveness and some more energy in your system, or whether you're kind of needing to maybe disperse a bit of excess energy, maybe that's in the form of feeling stressed or anxious, this breathing pattern is a great way to just bring you back to balance in that regulation. The sort of validation for this breathing technique is it is used a lot in kind of nurses use it a lot, people in the army and policemen. So people in high stress environment will maybe have heard of this breathing technique because it's great for regulating. So I'd love to share it with you now, and I hope that you can breathe along with me. First of all, just find your comfortable seat. So if you have your legs crossed, please uncross them. And either sit up, or if you're sat down on the floor, find a space where you can breathe for the next couple of minutes. Before we kind of launch into any breath practice, it's really nice to just check in with yourself. Notice where you are breathing. Notice where you're holding or any tensions are. So maybe you want to just relax your shoulders a little bit. Maybe you want to soften your tummy, soften your jaw, soften your face. So you just settle into the body. And then when I invite you in a moment to close your eyes, and that also helps bring the attention into the body. So a lot of us are upper chest breathers when we are going about our daily life. And then when you start to bring your awareness to your breath, you seem to naturally take this fuller, more healthier breath for you. But if you notice that you are an upper chest breather, I'm going to invite you to place your hands kind of to the side here and there. You're just kind of putting them over the bottom ribs. So the invitation when we breathe is to bring the breath in a little bit deeper, slower, deeper. So you're using the diaphragm. So you're bringing the breath down further into the lungs, because shallow breathing, all it does is it's useful in times where you need to move and act quickly. But if you're doing it in a state of kind of normality, all it does is actually support stress. It supports the sympathetic part of your nervous system, which supports cortisol coming into your blood, which is your stress hormone. So taking a deeper breath, really using your diaphragm is going to work wonders in seconds, in minutes. Okay, box breathing, really simple. We're going to inhale. I'm going to draw a little box here, but I would love you to keep your hands connected with your body because that will help you bring the breath deeper. We're going to breathe in through the nose, through this whole practice, just through the nose. Inhale for 4 counts. We're going to hold the breath for 4 counts, and we're going to exhale for 4 counts. We're going to hold the breath for 4 counts. So you're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Okay, so just a couple of tips before we go into this. We're just breathing through the nose. At no point do we want to feel strained or like we're overstretching in these breathing techniques. If you at any point feel a little bit of lightheadedness or just feel that you want to bring your breath back to normal, then do so. Bring your breath back to your normal breathing and then rejoin the practice when you want to. Also, I'm counting for 4 counts, but you really want to stay within your comfort zone at the moment because we're regulating the system, so you don't want to overstretch. So if you notice that holding your breath for 4 counts feels a little bit too much, then hold it for 3 counts. So I'm going to count for a couple of rounds and then I'm going to stop counting and give you some other cues and you're going to keep going. So that will be an opportunity for you to be like, oh, is holding my breath for 4 counts a little bit much? And do I go down to 3 to just see if that's a little bit more comfortable for me, because it's about the consistency and the comfort of this breathing. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. And let's get into the practice. So gently closing the eyes. Again, just relax the shoulders, bring your hands in contact with the body. And we're going to breathe out just a little bit first before we inhale softly through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Inhale softly, deeply, slowly, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Softly exhale, relax the shoulders on the way down, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Exhale with comfort, 3, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath, soften into the hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Exhale. Hold the breath. Inhale. So keep going. Just go at your pace. Keep connected. Keep the eyes closed. Hold. Just count yourself. Notice what's happening in your body. Allow the inhale to come a little bit more deeply, and hopefully you should feel the body move under your hands as you inhale. And on any breath holds, just notice what becomes constricted. So maybe the throat feels constricted on that hold. Just offer a bit of softness and relaxation. See if you can enjoy the process. Keep going. We're just going to do a couple more rounds in your own time. Is 4 your count, or is 3? How does this feel for you? And then when you get to your next exhale, then simply inhale through the nose and exhale. Just come back to your normal breath. Just take a few breaths at your own pace, coming back to your normal habitual breathing. Maybe on the exhale, just exhale through the mouth and relax the jaw with a sigh. Just one more time. Going to inhale. Feel it in the belly as well as the chest moving, and exhale. Relax the jaw. Lovely. And just blinking your eyes open if they're not already open, maybe having a little look around the room. And then we can come back. And thank you for breathing with me. And I'd love to answer any questions that anyone has about breath, stress.
Thank you, Hannah. That was amazing. You actually managed it. Everybody's still here. So that's a really good sign that everyone really got into that practice then. No questions at the moment, but anybody else has anything else they'd like to ask about anything that we've covered? One thing that did crop up in the questions is this recorded? And yes, it is going to be recorded and edited and then popped onto CONFEX's YouTube channel next week. So you'll be able to go back and listen to the tips and practice the breathing technique again. Hannah, that was really beautiful. Thank you so much. This is just a kind of example of the kind of things we can integrate into conferences or meetings or exhibitions, and also things that we can do regularly with teams online and obviously in person when we're allowed. So we really, really appreciate you all joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the session and we wish you a very happy Thursday.